Okay, today we'll be looking at issues pertaining to third-party recruitment. So, when you talk about third-party recruitment, what are we talking about? Others will refer to it as the executive search. Others may refer to different names, but this is a process whereby you want to recruit for some positions. You want to recruit for a certain position, but now you have found out to say we need to hire someone outside the organization to do such kind of a recruitment process for us. So you might find that when you are doing that such kind of a process, for example, you have several positions. In other cases, sometimes you can just have one sub position, but you are busy with so many other tasks which you feel to say maybe we cannot be able to do everything, but we need to have an independent body to do this recruitment for us, for example. So the most important questions that we need to understand is to say, why should we do third-party recruitment, or why should we do executive search, whereby giving that kind of responsibility of recruitment to someone else? It's not like you don't have the expertise, for example, but it depends sometimes on the situation. So one thing you should be able to answer yourself to say, why should we hire someone outside the organization? When can we hire that particular person? What would be the role of our organization in the whole process? And what would be the role of the third-party recruiter in this whole process? So what you need to appreciate is to say why, when, and how you're going to do that particular process. Sometimes you can do it as a hybrid. You might look at to say the third-party recruiter would do certain responsibilities and yourself can do also other responsibilities. Or you might give it 50-50. You'll be involved at each and every stage. So the third recruiters also be involved at each and every stage. Or you can leave everything to the recruiter so that you are not involved in any process. And also one thing what we need to appreciate is to say, you need to look at your terms and conditions of service. Do they provide such kind of an approach? And also at the same time, you should be able to look at your policy, for example, to say, does it provide such kind of an approach? And at the same time, you might need also maybe, if it doesn't provide, of course, I know the board management can make a decision to engage with and can be ratified and ensure that whatever you are doing is having a management or a body approval. And what we need to also to appreciate is to say, whenever such kind of a decision has been made, you should be looking at to say, what's the procedure that particular person is going to use, the third recruiter, for him to arrive up to the end point where you need to get such kind of people. You have heard about a lot of organizations being asked to say maybe you didn't recruit professionally, there were some biases and all that. So I think that's the most important thing that we need to appreciate, to say where you see that. That's for now the answer we are saying, to say when should we do that. When you see that this particular position, if we are to do it internally, I think we might be able to have a lot of issues. Then you might need to engage a third-party recruiter. So sometimes it's due to lack of expertise, like within the organization. For example, you can have an organization, but maybe you're looking for a position like an ICT person or an engineer, for example, but maybe you don't have, or head of the engineering department or head of the ICT department, but you don't have any other. What do you have as subordinates? So you might not want to have the subordinate sitting on an interview of his boss, for example. So you might need to engage a third-party recruiter. Even the board maybe might not have that kind of knowledge. You might need to engage a third-party recruiter. Or it's a new portfolio, it's a new position, public relations officer, for example, public relations manager. It's a new position. There's no one within the organization who has good experience of how public relations works. Could be a marketing person. You didn't have a marketing department, for example, an ICT department. You don't have an ICT department, but you're creating now one. So what we need to appreciate is to say, do you have the expertise so that you are able to interview people from your organization. You can be able to develop a job description, for example, for that particular position. So these are some of the things that you should be able to consider to say, do we have the capacity to do the job description development? So when I said you can engage a third-party recruiter in a hybrid way, or maybe in a bit of doing a certain percentage, you might be able to do that to say, okay, you have hired you as a third-party recruiter, but your role is about developing the job description and advertising only. Maybe you'll be involved in the shortlisting and the interviews. Or sometimes you can involve the person to do the job description, the advertising, shortlisting, and you continue with the interviews, for example. Or you can be involved in the whole process. Or you can leave everything to the consultant to do all that work. Or it depends on what you think you can be able to arrive at the best candidate for the job. Sometimes you have looked at people whom you feel like you're like, no, I think we're not supposed to recruit this particular person. It's because the internal forces have forced you, or some forces have forced you to recruit someone whom you felt maybe during the interview or during shortlisting was not the best candidate for that particular job. So you should be able to look at, do we have the expertise for us to do this particular thing? Issues of conflict of interest. Maybe the employees are conflicted. You might find when you have advertised for the job, it's only relations of employees within the organization who have submitted their applications, and these people, same people, will be involved in the shortlisting, in the interviews. Even sometimes it could be a position which is within the organization. For example, you are looking for a finance manager, but several accountants have applied within the organization, or you're looking for an accountant and the several accounts assistant or assistant accountants have applied for the job, for example. So you look at to say, if we are to do this on our own, we feel like we'll not be able to make an independent decision because of the relationships that we have within the organization. I've started some interviews whereby, no, this guy, although he's speaking good English, whatever, but he cannot do the job. This one is the one who can do the job. Yet, we are using the interviews as a basis for us to recruit this particular person. And now we're bringing in other issues, which we couldn't have brought those issues if we had engaged someone outside, or if we are interviewing someone from another organization. So an internal candidate interview is both ways, to the advantage of the employee, but also maybe to the disadvantage of the candidate, who is the internal employee. Sometimes the positives could be in a positive way, the biases could be in the positive way, sometimes it would be in a negative way because of the relationships that is in the organization. So some people would not be able to score highly a person who has answered the questions correctly, but will be able to answer wrongly for the questions which may be someone who answered correctly, but they're not being given the points. So these are some of the things that we need to be appreciating. So we're talking about issues of conflict of interest. I think that we know in another video where I was discussing issues of interviews and also other issues. There's also even a special session on conflict of interest to saying you might feel to say you are conflicted in one way or another. So how do you manage that? So engage a third-party recruiter, because this one is independent to your organization. Technical. Do you have the technical knowledge of the job? Do you have anyone within the organization who can be able to assess the candidates professionally? Or maybe it's a matter of having the answers, prescribed answers to the questions, and someone is just checking on the paper whether the candidates are speaking or they're answering based on the responses that are there. We all know in different professions, there's no way two people or three people can answer in the same way. So we need to look at to say what other things maybe someone has been able to put forward, and the people can be able to read it. If you ask me, when we are interviewing people, I better have all experts. For example, you are looking for an ICT person, I better have a panel with all ICT specialists, because it's a technical area which maybe someone cannot be able to get the nitty-gritties about the job. I don't think you can look at the behavior within an interview. It's not a behavioral aspect that you're looking for. No, but you're looking at someone who is grounded in the job, who knows the ICT things. So from sitting on a panel which has got fellow ICT specialists, I think even the ICT people will be very happy, because they'll know that they're going to to be asked relevant issues. I've gone into some interviews whereby a candidate has asked the question to say, no, I can't understand you. Okay, can you paraphrase? Now it takes someone else to paraphrase the question, because this person who had asked the question has no idea how to paraphrase the question, because it's not his field. Yeah? So sometimes also you can be recruiting for a very senior position, for example, and there's no one within the organization who can be able to take up that position. Yeah? It could be a director. And we don't have any director. So it means other directors who are not conversant with the directorate that is being interviewed upon. It could be the CEO, for example. So you might need to get senior or third-party recruiters. So what is the role of third-party recruiter? A third-party recruiter, once engaged, assuming that the job description is there, in the absence of the job description, he has to develop the job description for the job, for example. Or if the description is there, he has to review the job description, for example. If you have got a policy whereby the job description cannot be reviewed anyhow, then he has to advertise. So whether it's a new job description, a reviewed job description, or a job description that is already there, he has to advertise. And you agree on the media platforms. Is it about advertising in the newspaper, social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and the other platforms, networks? You talk about the professional networks, for example. If you're looking for a procurement person, for example, you might need to send to MIPS, for example, who can be able to advertise within their network to procurement officers who are members of Malawi Institute of Purchasing and Supply. So after the advertising, what do? You need to do the shortlisting. And also, let me emphasize, one of the problems which are there sometimes when you advertise, you might find out maybe we have created a link which people have to fill maybe some forms for example, and all that. You might find that the link is too complicated even for candidates to go through. But if you have got a third recruiter, would be able to use a link that is in line with the job and is simple and straightforward to use, because different jobs have got different technological the technological know-how of different professionals is different. So we need to be also to be appreciative of that, and you should be able to use links which are user friendly. No, not links which someone can get bored across the board and not be able to continue completing his application. So that's what is also very, very important. Then after that, there are certainly ICT portals which when you have submitted when you are submitting your applications, they can sieve to say, maybe this particular person is not meeting the requirements, this person is meeting the requirements, and all that. So you can do the shortlisting online. You can send even hard copies depending on the nature of the job and the market, the labor industry that you want to reach out to. So after that, you can shortlist. After the shortlisting, it would be the interviews. The third-party recruiter would do the interviews. The interviews would be in different forms. Could be psychometric tests, could be normal aptitude tests, could be any other tests. Yeah, could be any other test, managerial tests, and all that. After you have done that, maybe you can call for interviews. You can be able to ask the candidates, for example, a group interview, an individual interview, first interview, second interview, depending on the nature of the position and what you are looking for. So you can set up the interviews. The third-party recruiter can do the interviews. Reference checks. It's one of the responsibilities that the third recruiter can also do. Can do reference checks for your organizations to say maybe where has he worked before, what kind of people has dealt before, so that I'm able to get a reference from such kind of prospective employees. Police checks can do the police checks, for example, to say has this not committed any offense and all that, yeah. And one of the challenges with most organizations is on the reference check. We just think it's a normal process whereby you can just ask someone to say, has this person worked for you and what it was? No, there are other probing questions that maybe the recruitment agency will be able to do. So you can do the police checks, with the police to say doesn't have any issues with the police, for example. Can check with you maybe the status of the loan with the loans board, for example, to say, okay, we're offering you this particular job, and do you have any loan outstanding? What's your plan? Maybe when you have recruited you, because that kind of a promise is what you can use as an organization now to say, okay, because repaying back loans, if you are investing gradually, say what? It's by law now. So you can the third-party recruiter can also do that. So you already have a record of all the employees who benefited from the loans and all that. And after 3 months, 6 months, you're able to engage them to say, you promise to say after we have recruited, you'll be able to repay the loans. Remuneration negotiation, for example, is one of the key things that also is very, very, very important, which also a third-party recruiter would be able to do. So can be able to negotiate with you to say, okay, an organization can have a salary, for example, structure, and you're able to say, oh, okay, because this salary is offered, this organization is offering so much, what's your take, maybe the nitty-gritties, the other, which are beyond the salary, for example, yeah? Career growth, issues of career growth, and other things which are also very, very important. So I just wanted to highlight some of the things that you should be able to follow whenever you want to engage a third-party recruiter or someone who should be able to do executive search for you. So doing this particular process is not, it's a choice whether you need to use it or not, but at the end of the day, there should be value for money. And the people who are doing the process should be some people who are very knowledgeable in the process. It's not a job of any Jim and Jack, no. It's a job that has to be done by the experts. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Be on the lookout for more videos, and also follow my YouTube channel, Emmanuel Shinovi. Change Consult Group is one of the organizations which can be able to do executive search or be your recruitment agency, and be able to do it in a professional way. Regardless of the number of the positions, they can be able to do. They've got the expertise, the knowledge, and the nitty-gritties on how recruitment has to be done. I hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you.